nor the White House has clarified to CTV News whether Canadian CUSMA-exempt goods are impacted.
I'm ashamed of certain members of the court, absolutely ashamed.
The American president says he's deeply disappointed in the U.S. Supreme Court decision striking down so-called IEEPA or fentanyl tariffs. He then, as many predicted, announced new ones.
Today I will sign an order to impose a 10% global tariff under Section 122 over and above our normal tariffs already being charged. And we're also initiating several Section 301 and other investigations to protect our country.
President Trump has famously said his favorite word is tariff. And so I don't think they're going to simply walk away.
What's up, y'all? We are back now evaluating the one dude who does not care about nothing else except for 3 letters and the citizens behind them. And maybe not even that, because he seems to have been turned down by his own Supreme Court, but is making the whole world pay for it with a 10% global tariff on every single country. The only thing that we're doing as Canadians and the Canadian government's doing is sitting back and waiting and hoping that we don't get any of that tax due to our CUSMA deal. Now Donald Trump is acting like Denzel Washington from Training Day.
Oh, you motherfuckers. Okay. All right. I'm putting cases on all.
Since y'all Republicans turned your back on him and didn't agree to all the things that he said, trying to enforce tariffs on everyone in the whole world, y'all are just traitors to him. And since y'all are traitors to him, that must mean that everyone in the whole world is traitors to him. So everyone has to pay a tax, not just Canada. But now let's get into the video and see exactly what's going on with these tariffs and if it will affect Canada and what it's doing to Canadian businesses.
While steel and aluminum, automotive and lumber tariffs remain in place. Yet the vast majority of Canadian goods were exempt from IEEPA tariffs anyway due to CUSMA, the free trade deal that's up for review.
With these midterms, with a shifting political climate in the United States, with the inability of Congress to just follow him at a command, all of those things add up to a situation where I think it is more likely that he's actually going to engage on CUSMA than attempt to burn it to the ground.
The lead minister on the Canada-U.S. file said in a statement the court decision reinforces Canada's position that IEEPA tariffs are unjustified, but says, quote, critical work lies ahead to fight for businesses still impacted by tariffs on steel, aluminum, and autos.
And as Abigail just reported, despite today's ruling, most tariffs remain in place for Canada, including on steel, aluminum, cars, and lumber. CTV's Adrian Gabriel is tracking that part of the story for us. Adrian.
Marcia, whether you're a Canadian auto worker or you ply your trade in the steel or aluminum industry, the president of Canada's largest private sector union says today's U.S. Supreme Court ruling is no reason for celebration.
Sitting idle, Canada's auto assembly industry knows full well the toll of President Donald Trump's trade tactics, as does the country's steel and aluminum sectors, railroaded by punishing tariffs. Today's Supreme Court ruling brings little reprieve.
Our members have been on the front lines of this trade war because they work in all the sectors that Trump is coming after: the auto sector, the steel sector, the aluminum sector, the lumber sector.
Sectoral tariffs remain in place for each of those Canadian industries under President Trump's so-called national security tariffs. Trump has multiple levers he can still pull to apply additional trade pressure north of the border.
We expect him to explore a whole range of other options. Those include introducing new legislation to give himself new presidential powers that both President Trump but future administrations would wield.
While bracing for a blunt response from the Trump administration, Unifor's president notes that U.S. trade policy isn't just hurting Canadian industry.
They're having an impact on U.S. workers and U.S. industry. The manufacturing footprint in the U.S. is actually declining.
Speaking at Harvard this week, the president of Canada's Auto Parts Manufacturers Association believes the door has been opened to fight the tariffs still hammering Canada's economy.
It's really important to see that the Supreme Court will rule against the president, even when he overreaches. I think that's an important victory for the rule of law.
Those we spoke with today also add that it's important to keep focused on the upcoming CUSMA negotiations. The consensus, the clearest path towards keeping Canada's economy afloat, a new free trade agreement with our largest trading partner.
All right, so you've seen that and you heard that. Basically, in Canada, what's going on is we're basically screwed until Mark Carney and the Liberals want to jump off their high horse and get down to America and put all feelings and bipartisan crap aside and just make a damn deal for Canadians. Like, we're running all around the world, making all these great appearances, getting all these delegations, but we're not getting anything done as far as our economy at home. We're giving out millions of dollars, billions of dollars at times, for wars and for growth of other countries, yet we're struggling to have our own people find jobs within our own provinces, within our own neighborhoods. We need to just do a whole revamp on what our major goal is and what was the major thing that Mark Carney got elected for, and that was to break a deal and make a deal with Donald Trump, which we need to do. And you don't got to take my word for it. We got people, investors that don't want to invest into Canada and that will not take the chance with Canada just due to the unpredictability of Donald Trump right now. Let's get into it.
In the meantime, Andy, what could this mean for Canadian consumers and their investments?
Not a lot, because some stuff has gone up because of tariffs. The problem for our economy, though, is this uncertainty. I know I'm a bit like a broken record. Everybody's talking about that. But it definitely has deferred investment in this country, especially in Ontario, the manufacturing heartland still, because companies just don't know what way the ball is going to bounce next. So that's really a crucial problem. It has been a crucial problem for our economy for quite a few years now, a lack of business investment. And you can't blame corporate boards. Let's just hold off. We don't know. Is it even a bad idea to expand or build a factory in Canada right now? I mean, Trump won't be there forever. But say a Democratic administration takes over, they too could be protectionist.
What are you hearing from the federal government on this decision?
Well, there's a lack of clarity there, just as Abigail was conveying to our viewers and to you a few moments ago. The White House has yet to specify exactly how this new threat of additional tariffs would apply to countries that have some CUSMA exemptions like ours. So we await to see. And so far, from what I can ascertain from people I'm speaking to, they don't have that clarity yet either. Some of them are, in fact, being told that they might not have that clarity from the White House until early next week. So right now, it's kind of a holding pattern. I think what they're really trying to do is stay out of the line of fire of the president, not be too public about their reaction, because you heard the president very specifically threaten to go after all these foreign countries that would be celebrating this verdict.
So what could this mean for trade negotiations between our two countries?
Well, I think, there is the possibility that this is good news in the longer term as this review of CUSMA that Adrian mentioned gets underway. And that is because the potential for Trump to be weakened in his negotiating position, in the White House's negotiating position, is increased by this decision. I just finished interviewing a Representative, Debbie Dingell from Congress, who basically said this is incredibly encouraging to Congress because it does talk very specifically about Congress's relative power when it comes to making these tariffs come to life or applying them to various countries. So she feels that it will embolden some of her Republican colleagues, and we've seen some evidence of that on social media, who previously have been kind of quiet about pushing back against the president. If that's the case, that's probably our best bet in these renegotiations. If more Republicans make their voices known, perhaps that could ultimately sway Trump.
All right, Vashi, thanks for that.
All right, and that's going to do it for this one. And as you heard from Vashi and from another man who's part of the business sector of Canada, that basically Canada's on a standstill. We haven't said that we're going to do anything. We're just going to sit back, wait for the repercussions. But at the same time, it also limits us for any investment from outside people or outside investors who want to actually build business in Canada due to the fact that Donald Trump is unpredictable. So our major goal, I believe that we should be doing right now, is trying to get down to America and strike a deal so that we have a for sure on what the projection of Canada is and the future of Canada is without these back and forth tariff games that Donald Trump seems to be playing and pulling out on every country. Well, let me know what you think in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.